Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and last time we discussed the wonderful pastime of the deliverance of Bakasur, and how Krishna, as a small child, he was playing with all his cowherd friends. So many games which any normal, any ordinary child plays. He was playing hide and seek. He was, jumping like monkeys here and there, along with the friends. That's how Krishna was spending his life, showing all the various pastimes just to attract the minds of all the Brajvasis. So today we'll be discussing starting the 12th chapter, which is entitled as the killing of the demon Aghasur. So Shukdev Goswami continues what happens after deliverance of Bakasur. So one day, so Krishna he decided to take his breakfast in the forest. So Prabhupada writes, Krishna decided to go for a picnic, you know, in the forest. Yeah, just like any person of this world, they also like to go to some scenic place in nature and spend time, eat food there. Everything is coming from Krishna only. All the various propensities which we have, Krishna is the origin of everything. So Krishna, he decided to go for a picnic along with all his friends. And then in the morning, he decided this. He blew his bugle and called all his cowherd friends, and that's how they decided that today we'll be going for a picnic in the forest. So all the cowherd boys they also brought their calves, keeping them in front. They decided to go with Krishna. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that on this day, Rohini Devi she did not allow Balram to go, and she kept him by force because that was the birthday, that was the appearance day of Lord Balram. So Rohini Devi, she wanted to, just beautifully decorate Balram. First of all, bathe him, decorate him, and then she wanted that he should do all the auspicious rites which are performed on the birthday. So on this day, Balram was not there. So then Shukdev Goswami describes that hundreds and thousands of cowherd boys they joined Krishna in the forest for picnic. And along with them, so the cowherd boys were hundreds and thousands, and each cowherd boy had hundreds and thousands of groups of calves. you know all the cowherd boys, they were carrying a bugle, a buffalo horn, a flute, stick, and lunch bags. That's how they were equipped with. So Jiva Goswami writes that, you know, if somebody hears this, that there were hundreds and thousands of cowherd boys, and each cowherd boy had hundreds and thousands of calves. Actually, in one of the next verse, it is described that there were unlimited number of calves there in the forest. So somebody may question that if so many calves went to forest, then how many calves were left behind? The calves who were just taken birth, elderly calves, and the what are the number of the cows and the bulls and the buffaloes, and what may be the number of the cowherd boys, elderly cowherd men, gopas, gopis, unimaginable. So there were practically countless number of people staying in small Brindavan, 84 crores, 84 kos. So, and it is described, Chakravarti Thakur says Asankhya means 10 raised to 17. That is Asankhya, unlimited number of calves. So it is unimaginable that how can a small dham of Brindavan accommodate all these unlimited number of Brajvasis. That is Achintya Shakti. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, all this is happening by the Achintya Shakti of the Lord. And one time, one of the Prabhupada disciples, he went and told Prabhupada, when we go and tell the people that there were unlimited cows and calves, and when we tell them that in Mathura, Krishna had 16,000 queens, each queen had 10 sons, and each son had a separate guru. So practically, Dwarka was a very small, island. How could so many unlimited number of people they could stay in such a small tract of land? It is unimaginable, and therefore people they don't believe in Bhagavatam. Prabhupada said, of all the chapters of Bhagavatam, 300 plus chapters of Bhagavatam, you had to tell only this thing. So we have to be very careful and intelligent what to speak to whom. You have to preach according to time, place, and circumstance. Because a new person, if he is told all these things, he'll just dismiss the whole thing as imaginary. That's why they call scriptures as mythology. Mythology means that which has not happened. It is just a story which is made. So therefore, when we hear all these descriptions, we should see these descriptions from the point of view of the inconceivable potency of Krishna, Achintya Shakti. Krishna has Achintya Shakti and his Dham also has Achintya Shakti. Krishna can accommodate unlimited people in limited tract of land. That is Krishna. And Krishna with all his cowherd boys, they were in the forest and they were playing. So generally, when Krishna he would go to the forest, before going, Mother Yashoda would decorate him with nice jewelry, pearls, and some minerals. But when all these cowherd boys they would go with Krishna, first thing they would do is they would decorate Krishna again with fruits, flowers, peacock feathers, and minerals, forest minerals, and they would decorate themselves also. फलप्रवालस्तवक सुमना पिच्छधातुभिः काचगुञ्जामणि स्वर्ण भूषिताप्यभूषयन्. Although cowherd boys were decorated with ornaments of kach, means glass, gunjamala, and even golden ornaments, but still when they would go to forest they would decorate themselves again with whatever was available in the forest, the fruits, the flowers, peacock feathers, and minerals. And there they would start playing, just like small children when they sit for eating lunch. So many times it happens in the schools, and that children, when they everybody knows that this person has brought a very nice dish today, so that person's box, tiffin box, may be stolen. That's what Krishna and all the cowherd boys would do. They would steal one person's lunch bag, and this person, he would be desperate. He would be running here and there trying to find his lunch box, and he would even cry. And somehow all these boys, they would hide that lunch box in a thorny bush which is covered with red ants. And even if the cowherd boy finds his box, this other gopas, they would throw that box even farther. And that's how they would, the proprietor of the bag would keep crying, and he would be disappointed. And then ultimately, after a good laugh, all the cowherd boys, they would laugh, and then they would return the lunch box. So Prabhupada writes that this type of playing and stealing uh, lunch box among the boys is still very prevalent. Everything is coming from Krishna. Whatever emotions, whatever things we have in this world, Krishna is a supreme source of everything. Nothing can exist in this world which has no origin in Krishna. So therefore Krishna is a supreme source of all the rasas, all the excitements, all the adventure, all types of emotions. Whatever we see in this world, whatever we like to have in this world, all the special effects which we see in the movies, love story, romance, horror, everything is there coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything. And sometimes Krishna, he would go to the, all the cowherd boys, they would, have a race. And Krishna would go far in the forest. And all the other cowherd boys, they would run. And their competition was who will touch Krishna first. Yadu dure gatam Krishna vanashobhe kshanayana aham purvam iti samsprishya mire. Yadi dure gatam Krishna, if Krishna goes far away in the forest to see the beauty of the forest, all the other cowherd boys, they, just run, have a race. Who will touch Krishna first? And as they're running towards Krishna, they are calling loudly, they are, shouting, I shall touch Krishna first, I shall touch Krishna first. This is the transcendental competition which is happening between the boys, between the gopas. And acharyas, they say that actually when these cowherd boys, they are running, telling that I will touch Krishna first, what is their intention? Their actual intention is, if another friend of mine, he sees me running faster, he will run faster than me and he will touch Krishna first. That is the spiritual competition. That is what we should be having. That's why Prabhupada would encourage devotees to compete for book distribution. But the intention is, I should do my service such wonderfully that other person will get inspired and he will do his service much more better. That is spiritual competition. And we have seen in the Samudra Manthan Leela that when the nectar came out of the ocean, Shir Sagar, immediately the demons, they came and snatched away the nectar from the hands of Dhanvantari. And after that, started happening between the demons. Who will take this nectar? मिथा कलीरभूतेषां तदर्थे तर्षचेतसाम् अहं पूर्वम न त्वम इति प्रभो. Same verse comes here also. Aham purvam. But na tvam. That is their mentality. So demonic mentality means everything for me, nothing for others. Divine mentality means I should serve Krishna in such a way that this devotee gets inspired and he serves Krishna better. That is transcendental competition. So, therefore, in spiritual societies, we should serve Krishna, serve devotees in such a way that it inspires others to serve better. Not that I want a position, I want name, fame, prestige. Our main purpose is we should cultivate the feelings of humility. We should cultivate the feeling of devotion. And that is the goal of our all the practices of Krishna consciousness. Kaviraj Goswami writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, आपना शोधिते कोरी मुख्य मुख्य जन अनंत चैतन्य गण के करु गणन आपना शोधिते कोरी मुख्य मुख्य जन. He says, I am writing this literature of Chaitanya Charitamrita just to purify myself. Prabhupada writes a very brilliant purport there. Few lines purport he is writing, but amazing. Prabhupada writes, all the activities of Krishna consciousness should be done in this consciousness to purify ourselves, not to show the world that I am a better devotee. That is not the goal of our practices. The goal of our practice is to put ourselves behind and serve in such a way that others get inspired. As therefore it is said, devotees, they should be like a salt. If they are there, then nobody perceives the presence. If the salt is there, right proportion, nobody glorifies the salt. But if the salt is not there or more than required, then people complain about the salt. Similarly, devotees, we should try to serve, do our service in such a wonderful way that you know the things are going so smoothly that nobody even understands that okay, there's a person who has done it. But if we try to keep ourselves in front, then that is not the mood. That's why this Trinadapi Sunichena verse is very, very important. Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. And all the cowherd boys, they are showing by their personal example that when we compete with other devotees, we should do it to inspire others. Then Shukdev Goswami continues what these cowherd boys they were doing in the forest. Amazing, wonderful description. And the boys would be differently engaged. They would be doing different things. Kochidvenum vadayanto dhvanta shringani kechana kechid bhringai pragayanta kujanta kokilai pare. Some of the boys they would blow their flutes. Kechid venum vadayanto. Some of them they would blow their bugles made up of horn. Some of the boys they would imitate the buzzing of the bumblebees, and some of them they would imitate the cuckoos. Last year I think we were in Vrindavan, and Maharaj Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he made everybody to imitate the sound of bumblebees. So that is another experience to be in Vrindavan and hear all these pastimes. So Krishna is a small cowherd boy. He was doing all these things, and all his friends were doing all these naughty, mischievous activities, seemingly very, uh, ordinary, which any boy would do. What else they were doing? Some boys they were imitate the flying birds. Some of the boys they would follow. They would catch the follow the shadow of the flying birds. Some of them they would imitate the beautiful and attractive movements of the swans. Some of them they would just imitate, they would go and sit near the ducks in the water. Very silently they would sit, imitating the ducks. And some of them they would imitate the dancing of the peacocks. Other boys they would attract the young monkeys by making faces, just like monkeys, they make faces. They would also jump in the trees, into the trees, attract the young monkeys, imitate their faces, and sometimes they would jump from one branch to another branch like monkeys. All these activities these boys were doing. And some boys, they would go and sit in the waterfall and they would jump like frogs. Just like frogs, when they jump in the water. So these boys, they would also jump like frogs. And when these boys, they would see their own reflection in the water, they would laugh. And sometimes they would, go into a well and they would shout, they would condemn the voices. They would shout loudly, and when the echo would come, they would condemn the echo. One time, Radhanath Maharaj was there with Deenbandhu Prabhu, and Maharaj was speaking this, and Deenbandhu Prabhu was imitating all the sounds. So the cowherd boys were imitating the sound of monkeys. So Deenbandhu Prabhu would, make the sound of monkeys. They would, they were imitating like peacocks. And then when this thing came that they were actually giving abuses, they were condemning. So Deenbandhu Prabhu also started giving gali, Hindi mein. So that was how very seemingly very ordinary pastimes, ordinary activities, all these boys were performing. After describing all these wonderful activities, now Shukdev Goswami describes, don't think that they are ordinary children playing with Krishna. No, who are they? Itham satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya shritanam naradarakena shakam vijaharu kritapunya punja. Very beautiful, very important verse. Now Shukdev Goswami speaking. Who is Krishna? That Krishna who is, supreme personality himself. All these cowherd boys, they were playing with Krishna, who is a source of Brahman. Brahma Sukha Anubhutya. The Jnanis, they are after Brahman. They want Brahmananda. And the devotees, that same Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Devotees, they have kept in their hearts the Supreme Lord, and they have become eternal servant. Dasyam gatanam paradaivatena. Maya shritanam naradarakena. And ordinary men, they think, oh, Krishna is an ordinary person. They don't understand who is Krishna. Namam dushkritno mudha prapadyante naradhama. All these people, they don't understand Krishna. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavita. Krishna covers the intelligence of ignorant people. And these cowherd boys, who were they? Shakam Vichaharu Kritapunya Punja. These cowherd boys, they may be doing very ordinary activities of playing like children, but they are not ordinary children. They have accumulated lifetimes of pious credits to get a chance to play with Krishna in this way. They were not ordinary children. Some of them are Nitya Siddha, some of them were, sages in the previous lives who got a chance, who did tapasya to take birth and experience this loving mood of Sakhya Bhav. That's why they were getting a chance to play with Krishna in this way. They were not ordinary children. So Shukdev Goswami clarifies, don't think they are ordinary children playing like people, children of the world. No, they are great personalities. And Prabhupada, he describes that all these pastimes, they describe how if one thinks of Krishna in any way, all these children, they were thinking Krishna as to be their friend. And that's how they were completely in love with Krishna. Prabhupada writes that Srimad Bhagavatam is the easiest way of directly approaching Krishna. Two things are very important to advance in Krishna consciousness. Chant attentive rounds, chant the Hare Krishna mantra with all attention, and here 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dashamaskandha. These two are very, very potent to invoke pure love for Krishna. Of course, we know that we should not directly jump to the 10th canto, and that's why after 1 year of you know extensive hearing of all that 11 cantos, now we are discussing 10th canto. That is a perfect way to discuss Krishna Katha, knowing all the philosophy. Who is Krishna? Who is this Krishna who is performing all these childlike activities? He's not an ordinary child. He's a supreme Lord who is creating this entire universe. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, anybody who reads Bhagavatam can realize Krishna immediately. And that's why Vyasadeva, he has written all these wonderful pastimes. Lokasya ajanato vidyam chakre satvat samhitam. People in general, they had no idea. They are just suffering in this material world. And Vyasadeva, he knew all this. That's why he has given this Bhagavatam. And therefore, when we call ourselves as Vaishnavas, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramaham Samekamamalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyama Vishkritam Tashranvan Supathan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha. So 12th canto describes the glories of Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. Puranam Amalam. It is a supreme, spotless literature. Vaishnavanam Priyam. It is dear to Vaishnavas. And if we call ourselves Vaishnavas, we have to ask ourselves, is Bhagavatam dear to us? Are we taking shelter of Bhagavatam every day? Are we absorbing our minds, whatever time we may have? If somebody does not have 1 hour or 2 hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, are we eager for it? That is important. Because Krishna, he sees the eagerness. He's so very eager to read that even if he's getting 10 minutes, he's just reading Bhagavatam. Those 10 minutes of reading is much more potent to give pure love if we have intense eagerness. Laulyam api ekalam mulyam. That is the cost. That is the price. Greed. Greed is the price we have to pay. Then Shukdev Goswami continues. What to speak of playing with Krishna? All these. Now Shukdev Goswami describes little more. What is the fortune of these gopas? What to speak of playing with Krishna? Even establishing a relationship with Krishna is very, very rare in this world. Yatpadapam sur bahujanma krichrato dhritatmibhiryogibhirapyalabhyah स एव यदृग् विषय स्वयं स्थिति किं वर्ण्यते दृष्टम अतो बजो व्रजो कसam. So he's saying, Shukdev Goswami says that what to speak of getting a chance to play with Krishna even after many, many lifetimes of performance of mystic yoga practice. The yogis, they cannot even taste a particle of dust of the feet of the Lord. What is that particle of the dust? Jiva Goswami says that that means what to speak of becoming a friend of Krishna, they cannot even establish any relationship with Krishna. Therefore, बहु जन्म कृच्छ्रतो और बहुत जन्मों के पश्चात भी ये प्राप्त नहीं होता है. Dhritatma bhir, dhrita, if somebody, some yogi is performing all this tapasya with intense determination and steadiness, he also cannot get to a chance to develop a relationship. Then what to speak of the fortune of the Brajvasis. Brajaukasam iti nandadayo gopa Krishna Ram Katha muda kurvanto ramamanascha navindan bhava vedana. They were absorbed in Krishna Katha. Nandah kimakarod brahman shreya eva mahodayam yashoda cha mahabhaga papo yasya stanam hare. What is the fortune of Nanda Maharaj? What is the fortune of Mother Yashoda? Unimaginable. So what fortune these gopas they are getting? It is not an ordinary thing. The position of Brajvasis, they were personally getting a chance to see Krishna face to face. Or Jiva Goswami says, what does it mean? Actually, they cannot even see the ray of the trees of Kadamba. Pada Pamshuhu. Yat Pada Pamshu. He says Padapa Amshu. Padapa means trees. These yogis, they cannot even see the trees of Vrindavan. What to speak of Krishna? Another meaning is giving of this Padapamshu. He says they cannot even get a chance to have a darshan of the devotees of Krishna who are absorbed in drinking the nectar of the lotus feet of Krishna. The yogis are not able to see the devotees also. So therefore, the position of the Gopas and all the Brajvasis is unparalleled. And then, after describing the position of the Gopas and the pastime of playing of Krishna and the Gopas, now Shukdev Goswami starts another description. Another demon entering Vrindavan. So, actually, Krishna, when he was there in the forest, playing, absorbed, imitating the cows, imitating the peacock, imitating the cuckoos, swans, jumping like monkeys. Krishna was so very absorbed. Actually, all the cowherd boys and Krishna, they forgot to take lunch. Time passed by. Lunch ka samay chala gaya. They are absorbed. So what to do? Leela Shakti comes. She thinks, oh, Krishna is not taking lunch. I have to do something. So what she does? She inspires a demon, Aghasur, to come and interrupt the play. So that, Krishna would kill the demon and then he would feel hungry and then they would eat. So Aghasur was inspired through Paramatma by Leela Shakti. So demon Aghasur, when he came, who was this Aghasur? He was not an ordinary demon. He was such a great, powerful demon that even Devatas were afraid of him. Even Devatas were fearful of Aghasur. Who were Devatas? They were drinking the nectar every day. But still they were fearful of Aghasur. And Aghasur, when he came, he could not see the happiness of the cowherd boys and Krishna. He became envious. Aghasur, he was sent by Kamsa and he was the brother of Putana and Bakasur. Baki, Baka, Anuja. He was a younger brother. He was the younger brother of Putana and Bakasur. So nice devotee, nice demoniac family, very powerful family. Putana, Bakasur and Aghasur. So when his brother and sister was killed by Krishna, he became so very angry. He wanted to take revenge. So he was thinking that this Krishna killed my sister and brother. I will kill him and that will be the nice offering for my departed brother and sister. With this thought, he entered this forest where Krishna and Balram were playing. He thought, if I kill all these boys and Krishna, then all the Brajvasis, these cowherd boys, Krishna was their life and soul. So if I kill all these cowherd boys, if I kill Krishna, then naturally all the Brajvasis, they would die. If there is no life, then what is the need for the body? So they will give up their body. And with all these thoughts, Aghasur, he came. He assumed the form of a big, big python. And Shukdev Goswami describes in great detail about this python. The thickness of this python was like a mountain. He was 8 miles long python. He laid down on the road with a desire to swallow Krishna. He laid down, he opened his mouth. His lower lips was on the earth, upper lip was in the clouds, touched the sky. The sides of the mouth, they were looking like they were like the sides of a big cave. The tongue, he spread his tongue out. It was looking like a broad traffic highway. The breath of Aghasur, it was like a fiery hot wind. Eyes were blazing like fire. That's how he laid there. All the Gopas and the other friends, when they came there, they saw this huge entity which they had not seen any time so far. And they arrived at this place. They thought this, I think they were thinking, oh, this is some scenic place, scenic statue of Brindavan, some scenic spot where we have never come before. I think this is a special statue which is arranged just for us to enjoy. Somebody has made a statue in the shape of a python, and therefore they were not even afraid of it. Some of the boys, when they saw Aghasur, they became afraid. They started running away. They thought, oh, it is a snake. Other boys, they said, no, 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 it is not a snake. They comforted the boys who were fearful. This is just a statue, just a figure made up of clay so that we can enjoy. And other boys, they said, if you run away, we will not play with you anymore. You know, and that's how they just, everybody was there. Nobody went. So the boys, now they are observing the various features of this Aghasur. And they are thinking, is this creature dead or alive? Is he a big python animal sitting here just to swallow us? Or it is an ordinary non-living, statue? Its upper leg is like a cloud reddened by the sunshine, because upper lip was in the sunshine, clouds. So it was looking like a cloud which is reddened by sunshine. Lower lip was like a reddish shadow of the cloud. The corners of the mouth, they were like the mountain caves. The teeth, they were observing, all these cowherd boys, they're observing. Teeth, they are looking like mountain peaks, very high. Tongue is looking like a broad traffic highway. And inside of the mouth is looking like a cave, dark cave. The breath is like a fiery hot wind. And from the mouth, a very bad smell was coming. Like the smell was like that of animals which are eaten and getting digested in the stomach. These are all the features which all these cowherd boys, they were observing. Interestingly, even after observing all these features, none of them became afraid. Asman kimatra grasita nivishtan ayam tatha chet bhakavad vinangshati shanadaneneति bakarya shanmukham vikshodhasantah karatalanairyayuh. Now, after seeing all these wonderful features of Aghasur, Asman kimatra, has it come to swallow us? Grasita nivishtan? Anyways, even if he has come to swallow us, Ayam tatha chet Bhagavad Vinangshati. If it is so, he'll be killed by Krishna. Just like Bakasur was killed, he will also be killed. And saying this like this, Shanad Aneneti, Bakari. Who is Baka? Ari? Krishna, the killer of Baka. They saw the beautiful face of Krishna. Krishna was standing at a distance. And as Krishna is standing, they looked at Krishna and very smilingly laughing, they were clapping their hands. Vikshya Uddhasanta, very loudly they were laughing. Karatarane means they were clapping. They entered the mouth of Python. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, what has happened there? They sometimes, initially they spoke in fear. What if this is a actual real python? And if he eats us up, what will happen? Someone then answered, no. Even if he does so, in instant he'll be shanad. Shanad means in an instant. In an instant he'll be killed by Krishna, Bakasur, the killer of Bakasur. And saying this, they smiled. They looked at Krishna. Krishna was standing at a distance away, and they thought, oh, Krishna is within our glance. We can see him, so he'll be there. So we don't have to worry. Even if something wrong happens, Krishna is there. He will save us. And then, very loudly, they started laughing and they said, friends, we should find out what is there in the mouth. And they entered in that mouth, clapping their hands. Krishna, he's Antaryami. In everyone's heart, he is there. He heard the talking of these boys. He wanted to forbid them. But even before he could say something, they all entered. How is it possible? Krishna is Supreme Lord. Whatever he desires has to happen. He told them, oh friends, please do not enter. But by that time, they had already gone inside. Krishna is Satya Sankalpa. Whatever he desires has to happen. How is it that this time his Satya Sankalpa Shakti did not act? Acharyas, they explain, Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually there are two reasons. First is there are two Shaktis of Krishna. One is Leela Shakti, other is Satya Sankalpa Shakti. So Satya Sankalpa Shakti means whatever Krishna desires has to happen. But whenever there is a conflict between the desire of devotees and desire of Krishna, all the cowherd boys, they thought and decided we'll enter the mouth. Dekhne kya hai andar. And Krishna said, no. Whenever there is a conflict, Leela Shakti comes ahead and she tells Satya Sankalpa Shakti, you stay calm. It is not your time. You stay back, I will take care. And therefore Satya Sankalpa Shakti didn't act. And Leela Shakti acted. And Krishna, he was just standing bewildered. All the boys entered. Even though all the boys entered, Aghasur did not swallow them up. Why? He was waiting for Krishna to come. And therefore, Aghasur, he did not swallow, did not digest them. He was just waiting for Krishna to enter. Jiva Goswami writes that how is it possible that there were unlimited cowherd boys? Unlimited cowherd boys were there. How could all these cowherd boys enter the mouth of Aghasur? Again, by the influence of Leela Shakti, the pastime potency of the Lord, they all could fit inside. And Aghasur did not even prevent them from going out. He was just his mouth open. so that Krishna will enter. So now, when Krishna he saw all the boys entering and already entered, what happened to Krishna? तान् वीक्ष्य कृष्ण सकला भयप्रदो हि अनन्यनाथान् स्वकरादवच्युतान् दीनां शमृत्योर्जठराग्निघासान् घृणार्दितोदिष्टकृतेन विस्मिताः. Now, who is Krishna? Sakala Abhaya Prada. Krishna is the one who gives fearlessness to everyone. He saw Tan Vikshya, he saw all the cowherd boys entering the mouth. He Ananyanathan, for cowherd boys, Krishna was their whole and soul master, only master. They did not know anyone else but Krishna. Krishna saw all of them going out of his hands and entering the mouth of demon. Deenam Shamrityor Jataragni Ghasan, and they entered the mouth of this Aghasur, just like the straw entering the fire. Grinardito Dishtakritena Vishmita. Grinardito. Krishna was so very compassionate, but because of the potency of Krishna, because of the Yog Maya Shakti, because of the Leela Shakti, Krishna was also momentarily struck with wonder. What was the cause of wonder? Krishna was thinking, these boys, they have no prarabdha karma. How are they going to suffer? Super soul has not allowed this. Then how they went inside? And then definitely, Krishna is saying, definitely it is the power of Leela Shakti, you know, which has put me into this situation. Otherwise, how is this possible? So, when Krishna he saw all these boys already entered, he decided Krishna is a reservoir of unlimited prowess. He decided to, what to do next, and he found out a means by which he would be able to kill the demon also and save his friends also. So when all the demons, all the boys, they were there inside, Krishna also ran and entered the mouth of Aghasur. And when Krishna entered, all the devatas who were hiding behind the clouds, you know, whenever fight between Krishna and the demons happened, devatas they hide behind the clouds and watch. You have heard this in the case of Hiranyakashipu and Narsimhadev. Narsimhadev and Hiranyakashipu are fighting, and all the devatas they are hiding behind the clouds and they are, cheering Narsimhadev. Yes, oh my lord, please kill him. And when Narsimhadev and Hiranyakashipu, when he would look up, they would hide behind the clouds because they were thinking, by chance बच गया तो फिर हमको नहीं छोड़ेगा, he'll kill us. So they are always very fearful because all these demons they are very very powerful. So all these devatas they are hiding behind the clouds and they are seeing this, wonderful pastime. When they saw Krishna entered the mouth, they started crying, "Alas, alas! Krishna has entered the mouth of Aghasur." All the friends of Kamsa, somebody went and told Kamsa. All the friends of Kamsa, they became very jubilant when they heard this news. Now, when Krishna, he was there inside, but he heard the crying of the demigods. He saw, oh, friends of Kamsa, they have become jubilant. Okay. So he started to enlarge himself within the throat of this Aghasur. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that in the killing of Shaktasur, Putana, Trinavarth, Bakasur, Krishna did not enlarge his form. He remained in that same small childlike form. Why? Because when Krishna was killing all these demons, he was surrounded by all the cowherd men, Nanda, Yashoda, Gopas, Gopis. He did not want to disturb their mood of affection. Therefore, he did not display his power that he can become larger than the largest. But now he was there inside, all the cowherd boys, they're already unconscious. So now here he could use his mystic powers. The Nandan Maharaj, Nandi Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, they were not there. So therefore, Krishna, he took the more common method of enlarging his form to kill this demon. And when the demon, he experienced that Krishna inside is getting bigger and bigger, demon also increased his body because he was getting suffocated. His life airs were getting choked up. So he also enlarged his body, but Krishna became more and more bigger and bigger, and demon could not continue to enlarge himself more. He ultimately stopped breathing. His eyes rolled out. He became suffocated completely, and eyes were popped out, and life air burst from the top of his head, and the demon was dead. So after the life air of the Aghasur passed away, Krishna, he glanced at all the cowherd boys and the calves, brought back all these boys and calves to life. And then after this, Krishna, along with all the calves and the cowherd friends, came out of the demon's mouth. But a very interesting thing happened when this demon was dead. The soul, the life part, the consciousness, the atma of Aghasur came out of the body of Aghasur, and it was waiting outside in the air, visible to everyone. All the devatas, they could see the spirit of Aghasur, the glaring, it was very glaring effulgence, came out of the body of Krishna, stayed in the air till Krishna came out. And as soon as Krishna came out, this effulgence, the spirit soul of Aghasur, entered into the body of Krishna. Prabhupada writes that one may doubt that how can a demon, such a mischievous, sinful, cruel demon who has not done any pious activity, no devotional service, how can he attain Sayujya? Sayujya means merging into Brahman. And actually, further verses describe that this Aghasur, he attained Sarupya Mukti, he attained Vaikuntha liberation. He got the same features as the Lord. How is this possible? Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually this is the mercy of Krishna. Krishna is displaying by all these pastimes that his Kripa Shakti is much more powerful than any of the sins of people of the world. If Krishna wants to give his mercy, then anyone can get delivered. Any type of liberation is possible for that personality, whether Sayujya, Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, whatever. But he says, Prabhupada writes there that the gopis and the brajvasis, they did not get such type of liberation. They got a special type of liberation, vimukti. Nemam virincho na bhavo na shrirapyanga samshrayat prasade lebhire gopi yattat prapya vimuktidat. It is described earlier that the position of Yashoda is not ordinary position. Vimukti, special liberation, liberated position. The position is not attained even by Shiva, Brahma, Lakshmi. So all these demons, although they attained Sarupya Mukti or Yujya Mukti, but they are nothing in comparison to the Vrajvasis. When all the devatas, they saw this demon huge, very powerful, ferocious demon is killed, they all became so very jubilant. The demigods started showering flowers, and the Apsaras started dancing, Gandharvas started singing and playing all the wonderful instruments. The Brahmanas, they came and they started, reciting all the wonderful prayers, hymns in glorification of the Lord. And everybody, Shukdev Goswami says that everyone began to perform their prescribed duties to please the Lord, whatever they were expert in. And Prabhupada gives an elaborate purport on this. He says everyone has a particular prescribed duty. According to one's psychophysical nature, everybody has a particular type of duty he should perform. Everybody in this world has a certain skill, certain capability. If somebody is a singer, he can sing beautifully, sing for the pleasure of the Lord. Somebody is a musician, play instruments for the pleasure of the Lord. Whatever you have, whatever capacity, skills, use it in service of Krishna. Sonishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Haritoshanam is the essence. Krishna should be satisfied by all our occupational duties. Idam hi pumsa tapasa shutasya va shishtasya suptasya cha buddhi dattayo avichuto artha kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Whatever skills you have, if somebody can speak eloquently, use it in service of Krishna. If somebody can, do tapasya, can write literature, use it for service of Krishna. Whatever you have. Yena kena prakarena manah Krishne niveshayet. That should be our goal. So all these Gandharvas, Yaksh and Apsaras and the Devatas, they were glorifying Krishna. When Brahma, he heard such wonderful ceremony happening nearby planet, because Brahmaji stays in Brahmalok. So Janalok, Maharlok, Janalok, Tapalok, and Brahmalok. So when Maharlok people they heard the celebrations of Swarga, they also started talking about it. Then the news from Maharloka went to Janaloka. From Janaloka it went to Tapaloka, and when sages of Tapalok they started talking about the astonishing feat of Krishna, Brahmaji came to know, and he was surprised when all these things were happening, when the light of Aghasur was going to merge in the body of Krishna and then he was going to Vaikuntha, Brahma came down to Vrindavan to see what has happened. And when he saw such a huge, powerful demon being killed by a small child, he was astonished. He was bewildered actually. Shukdev Goswami continues. After this demon was killed, the dry skin, the body of the demon, this python dried up, and it dried up into a big skin. It became a favorite, wonderful place for the inhabitants of Vrindavan to come and visit. And then Shukdev Goswami says something wonderful. He says, Etat kaumarjam karma hareratma hi mokshanam mrityo paugandake bala drishtvochur vismrita vraje. So he says, actually, this incident took place when Krishna was 5 years old. And this fact of Harer Atma Ahi Mokshanam, Krishna delivering Aghasura. Ahi means snake. This pastime of deliverance of Aghasur was not disclosed for 1 year. Paugandake. Pauganda means when Krishna reached 6 years of age, then the Gopas and the cowherd friends they told about this pastime as if it happened that day only. 1 year this was not spoken. So when Shukdev Goswami says that thinks that if somebody hears all these pastimes of Aghasur getting so after Shukdev Goswami described this beautiful story of the deliverance of Aghasur, he was thinking some people may get astonished seeing this, hearing this. So in next two verses, in 38 and 39 verses, Shukdev Goswami describes the power of Krishna. He says, who is Krishna? Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the source of entire creation. He is the supreme original controller. You know, when Krishna, he appeared as a son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, he did so by his own causeless mercy. He was not bound. He did not have to take birth because he was bound by karma. He appeared by his own free will. Out of his causeless mercy, he appeared in Vrindavan and he awarded Sarupya Mukti to this Aghasur. It was not uh, a great thing for him. He can do, he can deliver an entire world, what to speak of Aghasur. It is not such remarkable thing for Krishna because Krishna, he delivered Putana just by his touch of the, you know, body of Krishna. Putana was purified. That's why all the Brajavasis, you know, when they burned the body of Putana, they were thinking from where this, you know, smell is coming, fragrance is coming. So Krishna can purify anybody just by his touch. And then in the next verse, he describes the actual cause of the deliverance of Aghasur. How Aghasur gained Sarupya Mukti. Sakridyadanga Pratimantarahita Manomai Bhagavatim Dadau Saeva Nityatma Sukhanubhutyabhi Vyudustamayoantargato hi kim punaha. So Shukdev Goswami says, Sakrit yad anga pratimantarahita. Even if somebody brings the form of Supreme Lord even once in his mind, Manomai, in his mind, if somebody thinks the form of the Lord even once, they can become liberated. Then what to speak of those whose hearts are always absorbed in Krishna? So it is not astonishing that Aghasur attained liberation because Chakravarti Thakur writes that he actually thought of Krishna for, with devotion for a moment. And Prabhupada writes that this process, the process for receiving the favor of the Supreme Personality of God, it is described herein. How one can get the favor of the Lord? By thinking of Him favorably. And Aghasur, he came to kill Krishna, but for a moment he thought of Krishna with devotion. What was devotion in that? He gave pleasure to all the cowherd boys. That was the devotional service he performed. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that in Aghasur, however, because there was an absence of devotion, somebody may say it is a deterrent. That means it is an obstacle to attain mercy of the Lord. But Krishna says, because Krishna says, Bhaktyayam ekaya grahya. I can be attained only by devotion. How Aghasur attained? Krishna says that is there, true, that rule is there, but it is for other times. Now, you know, I have appeared personally. When I appear personally, my Leela Shakti becomes prominent. My Kripa Shakti becomes prominent. And people can get a liberation just by my contact. That is the extra surge of the effect of Kripa Shakti. Perfect Kripa Shakti. Kripa Shakti is perfect. That is a wonderful explanation of how Aghasur got delivered. Now, Sud Goswami in between, he becomes so excited, he starts speaking. He says Parikshit Maharaj, whose mind was so very steady because he was hearing the pastimes of Krishna, he inquired from Shukdev Goswami something. Brahman kalantar kritam tatkalinam katham bhavet yah kaumare hare kritam jagu paugandake arbhakaah. He is asking, oh great sage, how is it possible that things which happened in the past, they are being described as happening, just being done in the present? Abhi abhi hua hai, how can the cowherd boys describe in this way? The pastime happened in Kaumar when Krishna was 5 years age, and they are describing when Krishna was 6 years of age, as if it happened recently. So please describe the mystery of this. I'm very curious to know what is the mystery of this thing, because I think there must be something which was done by Krishna. It must be an illusion of Krishna. And then he says, actually, he expresses his humility. He says, Vayam dhanyatama loke guropi shatrabandhavah Vayam pimamo muhustvattah punyam hari kathamritam. He says, oh my Lord, my spiritual master, Vayam dhanyatam, I am so very fortunate. Although I am a Shatra Bandhava, he is humbly calling himself the relative of a Kshatriya, a fallen Kshatriya basically. He is a supreme most Kshatriya who stopped Kali Yuga. Out of his humility, he is telling himself a Shatra Bandhava. He says, we are so very fallen, but by your mercy, you are making us drink this nectar of Harikatha. Vayam pivamo muhtattva punya Harikatha amritam. By your mercy, we are drinking this Harikatha. Please continue to describe this mystery. What is happening here? Now, when Shukdev Goswami, he heard this, he immediately remembered all the pastimes, starting from, killing of Aghasur, and Krishna taking lunch, then Brahma coming and Brahma getting bewildered, and then whole pastime of Brahma Vimohan Leela. Shukdev Goswami, Rita Khilendriyaha, he lost external contact. He went into ecstasy, he went into samadhi, completely silent. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says very wonderful thing. Actually, he says Punar. This happened earlier also. So, before this Bhagavatam began, Parikshit Maharaj, he knew that Shukdev Goswami is such a great devotee. He may go into ecstasy, and mere paas keval 7 din hai. One of the devotees was telling that whenever Shukdev Goswami goes into ecstasy, he goes for 6 months. I have only 7 days. So I have to make all the arrangements. What he would do? He would, he told his son Janmejay, he said, you arrange for all the instruments, kartal, mridang, and everything. Keep by your side. Whenever Shukdev Goswami goes into ecstasy, you start performing loud kirtan. And this time, Parikshit Maharaj told, start kirtan. So Janmejay, with all his instruments and other devotees, they started loud Krishna kirtan. Krichrat punarlabd bahidrishishanai pratyahatam bhagavatotamottamam Krichrat. And Shukdev Goswami, he heard this loud kirtan, with great difficulty, he again brought his consciousness back to the external platform and started speaking again. That is a wonderful pastime of, Shukdev Goswami going into ecstasy. So, and this happened earlier also. That's why Chakravarti Thakur writes, Punaha. Punaha means it had happened earlier also. Whenever Shukdev Goswami would go into ecstasy, Parikshit Maharaj would also repeatedly call out loud, very loudly, oh father, please come back. So this was a well-known story. So that is a wonderful description of the deliverance of Aghasur. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions? You can please ask. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.